You ever see that meme where the dog is sitting in a house or a building or something on fire and he's got his coffee and it's pretty clear that the place is falling down, but he's just there, smiles, and he makes the funny comment, "This is fine." I kind of feel like that's where we're at with Uber right now.
Xbox,
Twitter, Uber,
Postmates,
Netflix, MoviePass,
Google, Facebook, eBay,
DoorDash,
Apple, Amazon, Airbnb,
The Apptrepreneur. Hey everyone, this is Kevin, the Apptrepreneur. If this is your first time here and you like videos about the gig economy, rideshare, the streaming wars, just apps in general, and want to see more content like it, please consider clicking that subscribe button and ringing that bell. We have uploads on a pretty much daily basis, and we would like you to be notified when those videos go up. However, with that plug out of the way, let's talk about today's story. And today's story is, well, let's just get to the point. Uber laid off another 350 people. Now, here's the thing. For those of you who have not been watching my channel for a while, I have actually espouted a very unpopular opinion. And my opinion, my philosophy when it comes to layouts is fairly straightforward. This is what a manager told me one time when he had to make some cuts for a family business. He said, if you have to make cuts, make them deep and make them once. Now I'm repeating that here, even though I'm sure some of my longtime viewers are probably getting tired of me saying this. Here's why he said that. He said that for a few reasons. First of all, morale at the company can get extremely low if you're firing people every month. Because at some point it starts to feel like death by 1,000 paper cuts to the employees. And you don't want people to be fearing for their jobs. They're not going to do a very good one for you, because they're always in fear of losing the job. Heck, you might even lose more people because they're actively looking for other jobs because they're afraid they might be next. That's one reason to only do it once and to make it deep. The other reason is because on the outside, it looks more healthy when it's like, okay, I'm seriously looking at the books, I'm looking at the business, I'm looking at the future. And I have decided that with these cuts and no more, we will survive. And people then respect you because they believe that you will have a chance to pull yourself out from this mess. And if you're just firing people every month, then to the outside world, it looks like death by 1,000 paper cuts. So that's where we're at right now. Uber looks to be dying, both from the inside and the out. If you are an employee working at Uber, you are probably a talented engineer or a talented marketer. I bet you most of you are looking at this now 4th round of cuts, to my knowledge. It might be 3. And you're dusting off, I should say, your resume, and you're planning to apply for other jobs because Uber's not striking you as the stable company you hoped it would be when you were hired. To the shareholders, this looks very concerning. It looks like you haven't got your finances figured out, which, spoiler alert, they don't. And they never have had their finances worked out. And to a driver, well, what happens if Uber goes under? A lot of drivers still depend on Uber. What happens to my buddies in Chicago? Do they have to go back to a W-2 job? Probably. I mean, Tesla's rideshare service, that's going to be self-driving. So here's what the article says. It's not very long. Uber has laid off about 350 employees in its self-driving, that's surprising, Uber Eats and other teams, marking the final phase of layoffs that began earlier this year, the company confirmed Monday. Now, they claim it's the final phase. We will have to see if that's true, because I vaguely remember them saying that after, I think, the second wave that they were done laying people off. I mean, don't quote me on that. In fact, fact check me. I might be wrong on that one. But Uber kind of talked out like the layoffs were going to slow down. Like, hey, we had to get rid of a few hundred people, but we're fine now. And now look where we are. We're at over 1,000 people being laid off. And who knows if it's going to happen again. Who knows? So, the announcement by Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi in a company-wide letter to employees marks the third and final round of cuts this year. The layoffs started in August when about 400 employees in the California-based rideshare company's marketing team were laid off. Last month, 435 employees were laid off from the company's engineering and product teams. Uber's advanced technology group, Eats, global ride, and platform departments will be affected this time, Karashahi said in the email, along with performance marketing and recruiting. Days like today are tough for us all, except for you, Karashahi, who I didn't pull up the articles, so I won't show it. But yeah, you're firing people while you're making millions of dollars selling your Expedia stock. So, you know. The ELT, which is the executive team leadership team, and I will do everything we can to make certain that we won't have another day like this ahead of us. We all have to play a part by establishing a new normal in how we work, identifying and eliminating duplicate work, upholding high standards for performance, giving direct feedback, and taking action when expectations aren't being met, and eliminating the bureaucracy that tends to creep as companies grow. Now that's interesting, like we all have to do our part, because I'm currently reading the Super Pumped book. And we're at the point in the book where they're explaining, well, actually, we kind of passed this part a little while ago, but in the book, it explained how one of the things about like startups is that people who work for startups typically work for far less than what they are worth. They work for a lot less, they work more hours, they don't have much of a life. They are compensated with the promise of a secure job and stock options. Now, I don't know how many of these people were founding members, but when they have layoffs, founding members typically go first. Why? Because they cost the most money. And there's usually some understanding that, hey, they've got shares in the company, so they can sell, become young millionaires, and we can call it a day. And now we can hire someone new to work for far less in general. That's typically what happens. So it's interesting, like we all have to do our part, as if losing your job was part of the agreement when you signed on to work for Uber. It's just, yeah, look, I know he has to try to appear sympathetic. He's really not very good at it. Although maybe that's just me realizing that when you have like a layoff letter, it's just, you get a little cynical because they've been losing money for I don't know how many years. And the fact that he's saying like, I'm going to do what I can to make sure a day like this doesn't happen again. It's like, how are you going to actually start making money? How are you going to make money? You have never made money. You've never come close to making money. And I do believe that when Lyft announces their earnings on October 30th, there's going to be like a huge wake-up call. And here's the other interesting thing, because this is also the first round of layoffs for the self-driving division. In my opinion, this was a division that was always should have been first, because the cars don't work and they're not saving Uber any money. And Google and Tesla are way ahead of them in that game. And by the way, I don't think Google and Tesla's cars are going to be on the road anytime soon either. It's just you're wasting billions of dollars on nothing. If you weren't spending billions of dollars on these cars, you could have made a profit, could have probably afforded to pay the drivers better, and you could have saved in the piggy bank so that when it was time to develop a self-driving car, you would have the money. And some people might say, well, but you're not ahead of the game then. Like in the sense like of research and development. Yeah, that's true. You're not ahead of the game. You weren't on the ground up. But keep in mind, Apple's built a company out of being second or third. They usually let other companies innovate, create the product, and then Apple copies it and they make it better with the infrastructure that's already there in place. In fact, I have a friend who works at Apple. I won't name his name, obviously. And I was joking about how I liked Waze better than Apple Maps, and he said pretty much everyone does. And he said, but you know, Apple Maps is a lot better now that we've piggybacked off of Google's data. So yeah, they're all doing it all the time. So I might be misquoting him, and if I am, he'll call me. But you know, again, I'm not using his name, so it doesn't matter. So here's the thing: TechCrunch previously reported that layoffs come after Karashahi asked his executive leadership team if they were to start over, would their respective organizations look the same? A spokesperson said the engineering and product team leaders responded to no, and Chief Product Officer Manik Gupta and Chief Technology Officer Thon Pham had found duplicate roles. Oh, hey, Thon Pham. I've been reading about him a lot in that book. So, yeah, this is going to hurt a lot of people. It's a shame that it keeps happening. And again, the company, Uber as a company, is spiraling. And every time they do a layoffs, they have to like put a nice bow, like, we're going to try not to do this again. This is coming to an end. We promise we're not going to do this much longer. And it's like, you keep doing it, buddy. You keep laying people off, and it's not good. It's not good. So, I mean, look, I don't know what else to say at this point. I mean, I'm expecting more losses when the next earnings report for Uber is announced. It will probably be less than what I'm expecting because they are officially not paying a lot of salaries, benefits, and potentially pensions. Who knows? Of course, if a lot of these people are stockholders, they might be inclined to sell off their stock out of disgust. That happens sometimes. So who knows what's going to happen. But for your sake, I hope this is the last round of layoffs. Because if it's not, you're going to be in for a rude wake-up call come the end of the year. However, that is my opinion. What is your opinion? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. Also, if gas prices get you just a little down, check out the Get Upside app below. It's totally free, and you get cash back on every gas purchase. If you want more content from me, check out my other channels, Kevin T. Rodriguez, the Apptrepreneur Vlogs, and Autograph Found. And finally, if you want to talk to me or other fellow drivers out there or investors, whatever, check us out at the Apptrepreneur Hangouts on Facebook. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.